Hello, my name is Rogan Marshall. Um, some of you watching this have watched my other videos. My YouTube so-called channel is mostly videos about my health problems. Sometimes I talk about movies. I've been a filmmaker in the past. At times, sometimes I play guitar and sing. This has to do with work. I did just now look at the Save a Lot website and decided. Decided I couldn't find a way to contact them directly. Uh, that was anything like easy. So I'm just going to make a more direct and clear video about this than the last couple I posted over the last few days, and share it to their Facebook page and their YouTube page. Tag them. I don't use these other sites that they have a corporate presence on: Instagram, Pinterest. I would rather use the phone, but I don't know who to call. So for about 3 weeks, be about 2.5 weeks now, if I'd showed up for work yesterday, I've been an assistant manager at the Save a Lot here in Lima, Ohio. Manager is named Jerry. Assistant manager is named Stacy. I met a corporate guy named Butch. I didn't catch the rest of his name, and unfortunately, I didn't get a business card or a phone number from him. He's some kind of traveling manager, district manager. I didn't catch his title either. I met him Friday. So the short version of what's going on here is I had to let a cat out. Sorry. The manager and the assistant manager just threw a psychotic temper tantrum at me Friday night. Instead of training me to count the money, which is what they and I and we were supposed to be doing, threatened to kill me, chased me out of the store literally. I didn't think they were going to kill me. There were 4 guys standing there pissed off, ready to hit me, just for trying to learn how to do my job. And the reason this happened, or at least it seems pretty clear that the reason this happened, is there's a scale of employee theft going on at that specific store that is startling and pervasive. That is to say, it seems like everyone at the store is in on the theft. Now, the store does have an owner. These things are structured different ways. I've been told there are local owners named Miller, and that they own several Save-A-Lots. I'm going around them to corporate, because it seems like maybe they're in on the theft. So let me explain some of the details of this and start to make myself a little more clear, I guess. When I started work there, right away there are certain things that seem not okay. Certainly not within a corporate structure. I got hired to be an assistant manager, a night manager, closing the store 2 or 3 nights a week. Right now, the manager and assistant manager have both been working every day for months. Not sure why they don't have another manager, except maybe they keep doing what they did to me. I was told day one, the first thing I was told that was a little weird, that seems to indicate a grand scale of theft, is that the crew, it's 2 managers and now me and some high school kids, maybe 1 or 2 of the 4 or 5 people who run the registers are older than that. One of them is the son of the store manager. I think his name's Cam. I didn't really catch any of these kids' names yet. I hadn't had a reason to. I hadn't worked with them alone yet. And I'm not good with names until I have to be. But they always got 3 or 4 guys there when they really only need 1 watching the front registers. And the manager told me at some point in the first day or 2 that she gives her son and his friends extra hours, that she doesn't need them in the store so that they can make a little extra money. And that's already a little weird. That's not crazy weird. She's the store manager. What's weird is that corporate isn't coming down on them for payroll being inflated. But, none of my business. I'm just a night manager for a couple shifts a week, right? So I'm also told that the kids, and I'm invited to participate and encouraged to participate in, simply eating any snack you want and drinking any drink you want on the premises at any time without reference to anything. That is to say, not only are we getting free sodas and bottles of water, free chips, free candy, um, free meals, we're not keeping track of what we're consuming. There isn't a list for loss and damages or to pay for later. There's no list. 2 different times I asked, with literally stuff in my hand, I've been told I can eat. We're keeping track of this, right? And I'm told, Stacy and Jerry both told me 2 different times, no, yeah, we're keeping track of it. We keep track of all of it. And there wasn't like a mechanism to keep track of it. It's clearly just sort of what they say. And there was no further briefing either, like, this is what we're telling people, but this is what we actually do. This is the actual company line. This is what we tell the kids. There's nothing like that. Just, oh yeah, we keep track of it. And there's no way to keep track of it. So that's a little weird. Now that kind of employee theft or use, you generally, you can write it off as loss and damages, or you can pay for it somehow. But not tracking it, not keeping track of what you're doing is pretty weird. And I know corporate anywhere is not going to approve of simply blank check operating with snacks and drinks for the kids. You don't want to encourage them to think like that. It will spoil them for working at other stores in the chain, if nothing else. So that was weird. They're constantly cooking food in the break room that's from the, like I get there, they're making cookies or they're making pizza rolls or something. The fridge is full of half-eaten stuff. There's a sign on the fridge in the break room that says anything from the store has to have a receipt taped to it, but nothing does. Even as I speak, I'm sure that is still the case because that's how it's been the whole time I've been there. So I worked a few days. They trained me to run the registers. It's fairly simple, straightforward point of sale system. The other thing that starts seeming weird right away is how careless and carefree they are about the money. Now, understand the other people getting into the registers, it's pretty much anyone who's in the store. There's money in basically 3 registers at all times, though sometimes only one register is really running. There's money in at least one more. There's apparently no assigned drawer or till or register. Everyone just passwords into any register they need to with the same 1-digit password. This is also the management password. So when I need to password into the management menu to pop the drawer open or to do a cash deposit, that is also something that any of the kids at the registers can do. There's just one password and it's the same one for all the registers. But Jerry says in the 16 years that she's been running the place, they've never had a theft problem. And I'm looking at these high school kids up front. They look like the sidekicks in the gangs in Clockwork Orange. Like they're shifty, sort of criminally minded kids. Like you can tell just looking at them. So I got to wonder, like, really, the drawer is not locked down to a specific person, really. Now, they are apparently aware that that's weird. Though, like I said, 2 or 3 different times, Jerry told me they never have any problem with money disappearing. They had me working 1 day shift a week. I'm training on night shifts to close the store at night. But once a week, truck day, Wednesday, she's got me working the register 9 to 4. So last week I came in to do that. And I'm not sure what time the store opens, 8 or 9, but the money's already in the drawer in the register. And the register is always, like I said, free access to anyone walking by who works there who knows that 0 is the password. So it was never like I was just told to just start running the register. At 4 o'clock, when I'm about to leave, the manager, Jerry, says to me in the office, do you want to count that down or do you just trust us? Now, I have not been allowed to or been instructed in how to, past one run through, count a drawer down. I sure wasn't allowed to count it, let alone encouraged to, when I came in. This is not my drawer. Like, it's not on my watch. I'm not responsible. I would make sure that nobody's got a password but me, and I would make sure nobody touches the drawer but me. 3 or 4 other people ran on that drawer that day a couple of different times. So, like, I just blew it off. But as soon as she said, do you just trust us? I thought, like, well, let's be straight. That wasn't my drawer to begin with. Y'all set that up. Y'all started it running. Y'all have had access to it. Other people have had access to it. But, but there's no point in arguing about that until money turns up missing. And I got to be like, that ain't on me. Y'all are the ones setting shit up all screwy. Um, so that's weird. And later when I was talking to somebody about this is, of course, if everyone's allowed to put their hands in the money and management is bragging that money never disappears, well, that means they're sure that the money is straight for reasons that don't have anything to do with whether or not anyone stole any of it. And that, of course, has implications. So over the week or two I'm working there, first of all, they walked me through closing procedures twice, but they wouldn't let me take detailed notes, and they wouldn't back up, and they started yelling at me, like literally yelling, when I started asking questions. So I've got sort of half-assed instructions for closing out the safe and the registers and the end-of-day paperwork from 2 different nights, but it's not coherent or inclusive. It's not like I need a little bit more training. I need somebody to walk through everything slow, and then let me do it with my own hands once. It's an hour, maybe. Probably more like 30 or 40 minutes. I've done jobs like this before. But 2 different nights, they're closing. The first week I'm learning to close, they ran through it really fast in front of me, and every time I asked a question that would have slowed them down, they got mad and told me to just pay more attention. All right. But after the second time, they just didn't let me stay to close. I'm scheduled 4 to close. Store closes at 9, so it's 4 to 9:30, but it's really like 10 after, unless there's a problem. That's how it works at any retail or restaurant business. But they consistently, after the first 2 nights, they just tell me I can go home at 8:55 or 9. Like, if everything's done, you can leave. Well, all right. And I'm thinking, they just want to fire me. Like, clearly they don't like me much, and they don't want to train me to close the store, and maybe they want to hire somebody else. I don't know. Something's going on, but clearly something's funny. So, like, while I'm doing this training, also these first couple of weeks, the amount of food employees seem to be walking out with is kind of staggering. Like, there's guys walking out of the back, clocking out at 4 o'clock with armloads full of bags full of packages of steaks and steaks and steaks, stacks of steaks, clocking out, and they got like 100 steaks, and they just walk out. Nobody's stopping them. Nobody's asking them. It's clearly not my place to, but I don't know. One of the nights that I was supposed to learn to close, there's another person, I think is a new trainee also. It's like about 8:50, and she starts walking around the store with carts, filling up 2 that I saw, filling up 2 shopping carts with groceries, like piled high with groceries, brings them to the front of the store. I mean, I don't know that nobody paid for that stuff or what arrangements were made, but it sure looked like they were just going to wheel it out into the parking lot, dump it into the back of a station wagon as soon as I walked away. They apparently have cookout parties in the parking lot on Sundays, I was told. So that would use a bunch of stuff from the store. There were bags of charcoal that were labeled, it's for the Sunday cookout in the store, like the last Friday I worked. So is somebody paying for that? I don't know. But really, it's not my business. I'm just one of the night managers, except like it's so pervasive. It's unsettling. And I really don't want any part of it. I don't want the free food if it's like this. One afternoon, I was working, and a girl who used to work there, I think I got hired to replace her, a girl in her 20s. I recognized her she'd worked there before. I started working there. She came in to get a couple of things, like 2 little things. And there's another guy working up front who chats with her for a minute about what she's been up to. When she comes up to the register, he tries to insist she not pay for it. It's just a couple of random things, but they're inventory. It's not like a spoonful of something from the deli. Like, they're inventory items. And the guy's like, just take that stuff. You used to work here. Just take that stuff. And she gave him a funny look and looked at me, and I gave them both funny looks. And then we both decided that she should pay for the stuff. Like, and he again suggested she didn't have to pay for it, but she paid for it. I rang it up, and it's kind of a weird, uncomfortable moment. Like, who's allowed to just take whatever they want? So the implication here that I had to be led to, that I didn't want to believe might be the case, because it's weird, actually, if it's what's going on, is that the crew, the manager, the assistant manager, their group, clique, I don't know, their people, their kids, they're stealing money, cash money, like a bunch of it. And my first indication that this might be the place, well, for the case, is, for one thing, they don't want to train me to count the money to close the store. I don't know why. I got the impression they didn't like me much. But they're not letting me learn how to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So, but I have, because I've run the register all day a couple of times, and it's a simple thing. I do know how to do a management cash drop. Like, you open the manager menu, you type in a couple of things, you take some money out of the register, type in that amount. You go to a safe in an alcove that counts the money for you. You feed it the money. You could manually alter it, but basically you feed it the money and it counts the money for you, and it prints out another slip, and you staple it to the first slip, and you put them in the office. Otherwise, you end up with way too much money in the register. Every couple of hours, you got to drop some in the safe. So I had occasion to run one transaction. I was doing other stuff. I don't know, the high school kid was doing something, and I rang something up at the next register, and it did the flag that said there's extra money in the register. So I walked way across the store where the manager is doing something else, and I'm like, "Hey, Jerry, register one says it wants to do a cash drop, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that," and done one by myself. Yeah. She's like, "Go ahead." So I walk back over, and I start doing the cash drop. So this kid, he's a high school kid, I think, maybe a year or two older. He's the manager's son. He seems sort of quiet and sort of dumb, but unassuming. He's not a particularly imposing or impressive guy. Or as soon as I start doing the manager thing and counting money, he comes rushing over, stands over me, and says in like a barking command voice, "What are you doing?" Like, "I'm doing a cash drop, man." And he's like, "Who told you to do that? You don't need to be doing that. Why are you doing that?" I'm a little rattled, but I'm a manager. I'm not showing. I'm just like, "I am counting money. Don't worry about it. I'm putting it in the safe." So he goes scurrying off again. By the time I'm done feeding money to the safe in the corner, both the manager and the assistant manager, Jerry and Stacy, have been brought over by this kid to ask me what I'm doing and what's going on. I'm just doing a cash drop. Like, I just am doing a rote thing we all do several times a shift. Except that really seemed like there was a scam that the kid gave away. At the very best, he'd somehow got the impression that I am not supposed to be doing management stuff with the money, even though I'm an assistant manager. But really, it seemed like there's some scam, and there's a point of criminal contact with the scam in the store when the money drops in the safe. I've never seen somebody act like that. And he really wanted to stop me from handling the money and doing the drop in the safe. And it was really weird. It was really weird. So Friday, I meet the corporate guy, some kind of district manager, traveling manager. Seems like a nice guy, typical corporate guy named Butch. Looks a little bit older than me. Might be a little bit younger because that job will beat you. Family man. Sharp. Like, he asked sharp, pointed questions about who I am and my background in this kind of work. And we walked around the store and pointed at several sections. And I told him, he just sort of made sure I understood what I was doing in terms of running the store floor for an evening, making sure it doesn't run out of meat and produce, basically. You got to do a lot of going back and forth, moving stuff around. You got to have a brain to do it. You got to know some things, but it's not that complicated. So we walk around the store. A couple of times, Jerry, the manager, seemed to want to start fights with me in front of the corporate guy. That didn't really make sense. She already seemed to have been engaging in this thing where she would just refuse to explain things to me, and she would pretend in a sarcastic tone that I didn't understand when she hadn't explained them. It's all right, it's management style. You don't want to train me clearly and directly to do everything exactly right the right way. It's all right. I'll figure it out. I'm really only here to lock up and count the money at the end of the night. So the district manager walked around the store with me, and he asked me why I'm not ready to close the store yet. How soon can I be ready? And I said, well, I haven't been staying to learn the closing procedures. And then the manager, Jerry, is like, why are you leaving early? You're scheduled till 9:30. Now, the night before, she herself was the manager who sent me home early. So I pointed that out. you're one of the two people sending me home early. And she got kind of angry and said that I should be demanding to stay and learn how to count the money and close the store. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that tonight. I bought a new notebook. I'm ready to go. And I told the district manager, I just need 2 nights, maybe 3. I need somebody to walk through it with me. I need to do it with my own hand once. And I need to do it badly once. And then I'm ready to close the store. So that night at close, it's Friday. First of all, they don't want to count a drawer down ahead of time for some reason. Like I kept being like, so when are we going to count down one of the drawers? So it's just Stacy. But at closing time, Jerry comes back. So both the managers are there. And it's because her son was working, I guess. She was coming to pick him up. But so that's kind of complicated, but not really. It's like you do this, you do this, you do this. You count this down, you count this up. You type this in, you open this page. But they won't show me how to do the computer stuff. They keep just snapping at me like, why don't you already know how to do this? I'm taking notes, and I'm thinking, like, I'll figure it out. I just got to take half-ass notes while they do it too quickly twice, and I got it. So they're making me walk through how to type how things they want on the calculator to be typed. So I've got money in my hand, and they keep losing their temper with me and yelling at me. And at some point I got about $500 in my hand, and I'm just following instructions that they won't explain what the instructions are about, but it's to arrive at a printed slip off a calculator, an old-fashioned desk calculator that's got printed slip. And I just counted the money in my hand again real quick. It's like 20 or 30 bills. It's like $500, not many ones, but I've got money in my hand. I'm going to count it again. So one of them is like, hold on, what are you doing? Like, I'm counting the money again. And one of them is like, you're not writing it down. You're going to lose track of it. And I was like, well, I know what it's supposed to be. I'm double checking it. And she said, we're not paying you to count the money extra times. And I said, well, yeah, but it's part of the job of being an assistant manager. You count the money extra times. I'm going to count the money extra times a couple times before I'm done here. Like always, like that's just standard operating procedure. And then Jerry said, okay, just walk away. Like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm ordering you to walk away and walk around the store. And I'm like, oh, why? What are you talking about? And then Stacy starts screaming at me. I'm not going to yell as loud as she did. Yelling at the top of her lungs, get the fuck out of here now. Get the fuck out of my store. So I'm backing up, asking what the problem is. She yells at me that if I don't get out of the doorway, she's going to slam the door on my hand. I'm like, what is this? You're chasing me out of the store. She's like, get the fuck out of the store right now. I'm like, what? Or what? Are you going to call the police? And she said, I'll take care of you myself. And then I remembered that there's 4 guys standing there, and she's got a box cutter in her pocket because we're grocery managers. We both have box cutters in our pockets. But somebody tells me they're going to fuck me up. I mean, I wasn't scared, but I was in peril. And I didn't understand at all what was going on or why. But I ended up just leaving. They're yelling at me that they're going to fuck me up or kill me or something. And there's 3 guys standing there ominously being like, just leave now. Okay. And then later I realized that not only did they refuse to teach me to count the money to close the store, the last straw for them was me saying I'm going to count the money again an extra time. So like it's now 2 or 3 days later, I haven't gone back in there. I haven't called. Somebody tried to call yesterday from an unfamiliar number, and I don't know whether it has to do with this business, but I was physically threatened. I'm not going back, but I don't deserve to lose that job. In fact, I seem to be the only one in the place who's not stealing from the place. So I'd like to contact corporate about this problem. Save-A-Lot has 900 stores. There's not an obvious way to contact them online as an employee who has been attacked by other employees who are apparently stealing from the store where I work. So I'm going to post this video of, I think that's enough detail it's 24 minutes. I'm going to post this video to my YouTube channel. I'm going to share it to Facebook and YouTube at Save-A-Lot and ask them to get in touch with me. I suppose I should have my phone number ready, the store number ready. I'll put that stuff in comments. But yeah, that's the story. I'm scared to go back. I mean, scared is not exactly the right word, but I'm not going back. I'm not going to risk being physically attacked or lied about or blamed for somebody else's theft. I mean, I was already worried. I was already worried that there was some kind of big systematic theft thing going on, and somehow I was going to end up in trouble for it. Um, anyway, the chain's gotta fire everybody there. It's just, they don't really have a choice. That's what you got to do when that kind of thing happens. And I, of course, can explain in more detail, but that's what's going on. The Save-A-Lot that hired me to work there, they're apparently just committed to some kind of theft scam to such an extent that they threatened to kill me, to chase me out of the store. And, I mean, one of the managers started shouting insults at me. I don't know what they have for security. They probably have a camera. They probably have a camera with sound. So you can hear the manager like ranting in a sarcastic, snotty tone that I'm a loser who couch surfs. Yes, because I needed a job when I applied for a job there. It's just one of the stranger things that's ever happened to me, and one of the more startling and dismaying. I just want to go to work. Like, I want to go to work right now. Anyway, that's the whole story, at least a short version of it. I can tell y'all more if you want to hear more.